the American people are ready to receive the truth.
UAPs are real, they're here, and they're not human. What else you want to know?
What's up, everybody? I'm Ness, and this is Apologia Today, where you take the word and not just learn to defend it, but you apply it to your life and you apply it to everyday life. So 2024 was a crazy year, and now it seems like 2025 is going to be even crazier. Matter of fact, not too long ago, I saw a Netflix commercial, and that's exactly what they said in the commercial. 2025, you're not ready for it. And here we are in the beginning of the year, and all you hear on the tabloids, all you hear on the news is plane crashes. You had the DC plane crash, the Philadelphia plane crashes, and then planes, not just in the United States, but all over the world are starting to fail. And you got to ask yourself the question, is this coincidence? I don't believe in coincidence. So what is really going on? So I was thinking about it and I started putting things together. But before we even go there, we need to go back. We need to go back to 2024 towards the end of the year and remember exactly what was going on, what was being said. As a matter of fact, if we go back a little bit further, in 2023, towards the end of 23, going into the new year of 2024, we already heard the propaganda of aliens being uncovered in Mexico, and that looked weird, right? It looked like some kid put it together with tissue paper. And then there was the report from LA where everyone saw with their phones a streak of light in the sky, and even the cops responded to a house from a kid who called and reported a 10 plus feet tall being in his backyard, if y'all remember that.
It's almost midnight on May 1st when a Las Vegas Metro police officer's body cam catches this, something flashing low in the sky.
911 emergency.
Minutes later,
there's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and looking at us, and it's still there.
Someone calls 911 reporting two large figures in their backyard.
No, I'm so nervous right now.
The 8 News Now investigators obtaining another officer's video as he's sent to the Northwest Valley home.
I have butterflies, bro. Everyone saw a shooting star, then these people say there's aliens in their backyard.
By now, it's more than an hour after that bright light. Officers meeting up with the caller and his family.
What'd you see?
It was like a big creature.
A big creature?
Yeah, like around 10 feet tall.
I'm not going to BS you guys. One of my partners said they saw something fall out of the sky too, so that's why I'm kind of curious. Did you see anything land in your backyard? Or?
They see like a big, that's what they say. They see like a big something with light.
What I saw right now, I do believe in it.
Police walk into the backyard to investigate, but Metro blacked out that part of the video because it's considered private property.
And of course, that was kind of like brushed underneath the rug. And then you had in Miami towards the end of the year, or I think it was in January, the very beginning of January, kind of like around this time as well, you had the Miami Mall incident respond to what they said was a bunch of kids fighting at the mall. But you know that that's a lie. Ain't nobody, cops don't respond to a bunch of kids like that at that capacity. Well, we're starting to see similar things in the beginning of this year. But what do we remember from 2024 that gave us clues, started leading up to this year, especially these plane crashes? Well, for one, we need to remember what exactly was going on with in December with the Pope. I believe the Pope was opening 5 portals. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and go there. So what I did was I took a whole bunch, it's a compilation, if that's the right word, or a combination of a whole bunch of videos, and I just put them together, and I want to take you guys on a journey of what I'm thinking here in my mind. And we're going to approach this, as always, through a biblical perspective. All right. So I'm going to play this video And of course, I'm going to just talk over it. And if y'all remember this is Pope Francis. I believe he started this on December the 24th or the 25th. And what he was doing was opening 5 doors. Now, this is not just a physical thing of him opening 5 doors, but what he did and what we see the manifestation of happening today spiritually, because I believe that these plane crashes are not accidents or just people being reckless, but this is a spiritual thing. Okay. And I'm going to tie it all together. So please watch to the end of the video and hopefully it'll make sense. But Pope Francis opened up 5, what I believe, demonic portals, which sped up the process of these demonic angelic beings now starting to be more aggressive. And you see, he goes ahead and he opens the doors. Now, I don't have it on this clip, but tell me why on the other side of the doors, when Pope Francis opened them, there was nothing but a whole bunch of Masons standing on the other side where they checker board black and white floor, which is symbolic, right? It's as above, so below type symbology on the floor. But why are there Masons on the other side when Pope Francis is pushing the doors open, right? Spiritual doors, portals, demonic portals. That's what this man did. And then shortly after that, you got the whole New Jersey incident. What am I talking about? The drones that they have still failed to address. And they're hoping that you will forget about it, right? So here's a little quick recap. If you don't remember, this is what was going on 2 months ago.
For weeks, videos of mysterious lights in the night sky have been causing chaos, with residents posting them all over social media. Now, the White House is pulling.
Now, of course, you know, these drones have been flying around by the hundreds in New Jersey and other states. And this was the response from the White House.
Back the curtain on the flurry of reported drone sightings.
After research and study, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons.
For research and many other reasons. Now, I guess they think you're really dumb, okay? But people are not, all right? And people are not really paying attention to the news anymore because they know how manipulated it's been. And this has actually been a response from that. No one's buying it, okay? But they don't want to provide an answer, but it's okay. But those that are in their word and the word of God know what's going on, all right? But even those that don't believe, they know this ain't right. And this is what they're saying.
The reaction online, swift.
Was the research and activity, okay? Like, you got to tell us.
You see, it's not research and activity. Last year, before Donald Trump was officially president, but president-elect, and Biden was president, even he was asked about this, and he kind of danced around the question about what's being seen in the skies of New Jersey. And this is what he said.
Comment on the drones that are flying around New Jersey ports.
The government knows what is happening. Our military knows where they took off from, and for some reason they don't want to comment.
For some reason they don't want to comment. Trump knows. He knows. Everybody knows. Isn't it interesting that the local PD did not know what was going on at the state level, even at the federal level? Everyone was saying, we don't know what's going on. But yet the government would allow this confusion to happen and lack of communication within agencies. Okay, it's never been done before and still hasn't been addressed.
And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense. Something strange is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people.
Something strange is going on, and for some reason, they don't want to tell the people. See, they know what's going on. But there's a narrative, okay? There's a narrative that they're pushing. And the Bible calls it the great deception or delusion, okay? And I'm gonna address this later on. Now, I want to say maybe it was October. I can't remember when this interview took place, but Donald Trump was on an interview with Joe Rogan on his podcast. And towards the end of the interview, and by the way, if you're interested in any of this information that I'm putting out, the links to every single video here will be on the description box. All right. So if you want to see the whole thing. But towards the end of this video right here with Joe Rogan and Trump, Joe Rogan asked Donald Trump, so what do you think is going on with all of this? And what have you heard? Okay. Has there been anything disclosed to you? And this was his response.
I get that question as much as almost any question. Do you think that we have aliens coming, flying around or whatever?
What do you think?
I interviewed jet pilots that say they saw something that were solid people. Perfect. I mean, great pilots, great everything. And they said, we saw things, sir, that were very strange. Like a round ball, but it wasn't a comet or a meteor. It was something. And it was going 4 times faster than an F-22, which is a very fast plane, And it was round.
Now, that's important. Now, remember the description that Trump said that pilots, and at this time, okay, last year, he referenced pilots as the best of the best, very well trained. The reason I'm saying this because now, with the plane crash that recently happened in DC with a Black Hawk helicopter and a plane, they're trying to use the narrative that, okay, well, we're just hiring people that are not competent, which we know that's a lie. Okay. Especially ask yourself the question, you have military jet fighters and pilots that are trained to escape and go into battle in the air. And in this occasion, a helicopter is just going to drive straight through a plane in plain view. It just doesn't make sense. Okay, now remember also what Trump also said, the description of these things that the pilots were seeing, they look like orbs, all right, of energy or whatever it is. It's spiritual. These things are spiritual in nature. Now, if you see here on my screen, this activity has been going on for a very long time, but it's intensified here in a couple of years because I believe that time is short and the coming of Jesus Christ is very, very near. The rapture of the church is very near. But as these things get closer, the enemy is also intensifying in his deception and his wickedness. So that like the spiritual veil is being pulled back more. That's why you're starting to see a lot of weird things going on that's not explained unless you know your word, unless you read the Bible. Okay, so in December 19, 2018, I believe wherever the Pentagon is located, someone recorded this. Now, the video, the footage that I'm going to show you, it's a little bit enhanced so you can see what is it that was captured from what I imagine it was their iPhone. Okay. Right there. Did you see that? And this is a little bit enhanced. Okay. But what you see right here is a triangular shaped image. And it's hovering over the Pentagon. Okay. And it seems like it disappears and reappears. It has like a cloaking effect. All right, but I'll keep playing it. And you see it spinning, rotating around in itself. And you can clearly see every single side of this image. All right, now I want you to remember, right, because the image of this thing that's floating around, all right, it's important because we see this. For one, we see it in Egypt. We see it in Hollywood films. Okay, in the background, it's symbology. You see people in Hollywood throwing up the all-seeing eye and the pyramid over the eye. What is this? What is this stuff? What does it mean? Okay, and once again, I think it's an allegiance, an alliance, a bowing down to the image of the beast. And this is his image, is this triangle. All right, so you can clearly see what it is. But shortly after here, let me fast forward. All right, so shortly after this, I want to say maybe within a couple of weeks, I want to say a lot of people saw this image, and believe it or not, this was addressed in the United Nations about this event. Now, the video that you're about to see is an actual video recording from a phone at the United Nations. But what I have done so that you guys can like hear it a little bit better is I used AI enhancements so that you can hear the conversation, exactly what was said. Now, if you want to see the original audio, like I said, it'll be attached on the description box and you can actually hear what was being said. But this was addressed and they were told not to record, and they mentioned this event right here.
Please refrain from any questions during the speech. Please turn off all the cameras. Recording of the following speech is not allowed. All channels and companies, if the video appears on the air, then prosecution will follow. No video, no audio. Now I am welcoming a visionary in the field, space founder of the international space platform, Galactica, Aliyah Prokofeva.
Now, I do not know how to pronounce that last name, but I checked this woman out on social media, and this is a person that's actually over some company called Galactica. And I question, right? You gotta question everything, even with her posture, with the way she's communicating. It's kind of weird to me, right? She might not even be, how can I say, human. All right, if you know what I'm talking about. She might be a shapeshifter. All right, but whatever it is, she gives this speech talking about the triangular image floating around and how they have made contact with that. Look how she's walking around.
Honorable President of the United Nations General Assembly, Maria Fernanda Espinosa Garces. Ladies and gentlemen, I have an announcement. On December at 4:07 p.m., an extraterrestrial contact occurred.
Now, notice the timing of these events, right? I believe this was addressed, 2018, but what, in December? December, okay?
A metal object shaped like a pyramid appeared over the Pentagon. Washington, D.C., the United States of America. An unidentified flying object diameter around 100 meters rotated around its own axis at an altitude of around 500 meters. NASA Operational Task Group specializing in the receiving and processing of the space data received an incoming data from the object. At the moment, as I speak here now, the data has been processed and investigated by NASA. The information from the radars, the visual information, and the fixation of the radio signals incoming from the unidentified flying object were made according to the data. We can say that the object hovering over the Pentagon can be identified as an aircraft of unknown origin.
An aircraft of unknown origin. Okay, so they're saying what it is.
Hypothetically extraterrestrial.
Extraterrestrial.
However, there were no signs of aggression.
Now, in 2013, and you guys tell me if you're familiar with this, okay? I don't know, because things have gotten so advanced with AI effects and all that stuff. It's really hard to know what's real and what's not. But it looks really, really real to me, especially with the way the light shines through this object. And this happened in Hong Kong, November. Once again, the timing of it towards the end of the year, November 19, 2013. Now notice what's the object coming right here behind this building. And if this is AI, man, it's some good stuff, right? But it is really hard to tell. And then you're going to see there's an opening towards the bottom of this triangle. And you can see the skylight or the light shining right through it. but I think it's really interesting the image of this whatever it is, this ship or this structure. Now, this reminds me of something, right? Because remember, I told you guys, man, I've seen this stuff before, and they put it in plain view because in the occult, when it comes to spiritual laws, okay, they know that before they do something, they have to show you. It's almost asking like for permission, so that at the end of the day, you are without excuse. And many people, they walk around oblivious. You can show them evidence, okay, that these things are real, that at the end of the day, all they do is just point you to a spiritual war. If evil's real, then good is real. If the devil's real, then God is real. Okay, so these things are presented to you in this way, especially in movies. Once again, so that you are without excuse, so that when you're standing in front of God, you can't use the excuse, I did not know. Did you not question? Did you not research? Did you not read the word of God and figure out, man, is there any truth to this? Okay. But going back to this image right here reminds me of a specific movie. It was a Tom Cruise movie, of course, right? Because this dude always has like occult symbology, like right in front of your face. Almost all of his movies has some type of a pyramid in the background. But there was one, I think it was called Oblivion. Okay, and it was so obvious, but it resembles this. Okay, it resembles this quite a bit. So what is it that they know? Okay, so I believe people in Hollywood, they have sold their souls to the devil. Okay, they're not blinded to this. Why? In return for the kingdoms of this world, for fame, money, power. And that's what you see these people there. Some are ignorant, some absolutely know. So I'm going to play a clip from the movie Oblivion. And let me know if you've seen this movie and what you think.
Welcome home, Jack.
There it goes. Same thing.
I created you, Jack. I am your God.
You see that? I created you. I am your God. Okay, that's exactly what the devil wants you to believe, lies and deception. And he wants to be like God. He wants to be a creator, but he's not. There goes that image.
1 hour.
And then, of course, Tom Cruise, he just loves to be the hero, right? In these apocalyptic movies. So I show you that so that you can kind of like put all this together. Okay, what you see on TV, it's in plain view. They're telling you, they're showing you what's happening behind the scenes in real life, right? Nothing is hidden. Now, this clip is from, I believe it's from the History Channel. And it's kind of like a reenactment of a I don't know, a documentary or biography, I don't know what you call it, of a testimony, I should say, of a pilot where his airplane got hijacked, okay, by these orbs. And this is what happened.
Into the flight, he witnesses something unusual. A gray, wingless object off the left side of his plane.
And as he approaches Mexico City, he notices basically a small flying saucer just above his left wing.
Now, this is important. Now, I want you to realize how many of these objects are flying around the plane, okay? Because the reason I'm bringing this up is because this happened again at another point in time, the exact same way, very historical.
Not as large as his aircraft. And he's flying a fairly small aircraft. And he's like, what is this? And then he looks over to his right and he sees another one.
So there's one to his left and there's one towards the right. Okay, so far there's two on each side.
And then he looks ahead of them and there's one coming at him. It goes below his aircraft. And he feels a bump under his aircraft. And he's scared out of his mind.
So now there's 3 unidentified objects that are foreign, not human, not from this world, right? And they have taken complete control of the plane. You see what I'm getting at? You see, with everything that's been happening this year, okay, this is not new. It's happened before.
Theory is that the UFO that came under the plane took control of his plane.
Took control of the plane.
And the UFO's own magnetic envelope is lifting the plane higher and higher and higher. So Los Santos is in a panic. He's giving Mayday calls.
Now, this is the actual Mayday call from the event. Okay, this is not a reenactment.
Malaysia.
Now, the reason I wanted to show you that is because I'm not sure if you guys remember, but there was a Malaysian flight a couple of years ago and it just completely disappeared. No one found the bodies, no one found the plane. And then they tried to, in my opinion, try to cover it up by saying that they found pieces of that Malaysian plane miles and miles and miles away from where it was last identified, from its last point of contact. And it just made no sense for this to appear so far away from the last, from its path. Okay. So to bring this back to memory, I'm gonna go ahead and play this video. Hopefully you guys remember this event.
Airlines flight with 239 people on board, including 4 Americans, has gone missing.
So a Malaysian flight with hundreds of people on there and a couple of Americans gone missing.
On the 8th of March 2014, Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 took off from Kuala Lumpur. 38 minutes later, whilst flying over the South China Sea, the plane's pilot, Captain Zahari, said goodnight to Lumpur radar.
Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9. Good night. Good night, Malaysian 370.
The plane, its 227 passengers and 10 crew, would never be heard from again.
Now, notice what they said, never to be heard again. Why is that? Okay. Well, we find out a little bit more with some additional footage that surfaced not too long ago during this time that showed something interesting.
A newly leaked footage shows a shocking mid-air encounter between a commercial airliner and 3 unidentified spherical objects.
Now, this footage that you see, this is footage of that Malaysian flight. And I want you to pay attention to the plane and what's around this plane, okay? The visual up top is kind of like an infrared from a drone, or I don't know where they got this from, okay? And then the bottom is another, I guess an original, maybe satellite footage that they were able to obtain.
The grainy video, allegedly filmed in 2016 by a military drone and obtained by an anonymous source, depicts a passenger jet flying through cloud cover when it is suddenly joined by 3 brightly lit orbs.
Orbs. Followed by 3 lightly lit orbs. Is that not what Trump said in the Joe Rogan podcast that I just showed you guys in the beginning of this video? He said that the pilots were seeing round orbs, okay?
Moving at incredible speeds. The spheres, estimated to be the size of automobiles,
the size of automobiles. Is that not what they were saying when all of these drone activity was seen in New Jersey? They were saying that these drones were the size of vehicles, okay? I thought that was interesting.
Encircling the plane in perfect synchronization. As the bizarre dance intensifies, the orbs accelerate to fantastic velocities, enveloping the aircraft in a...
Now notice here, just like the the prior testimony that we saw, right? 3 orbs, one in the front and then one on each side, the same way. And they're circling, almost creating what would seem later on in this video as a portal, okay? But notice the shape that they're creating, a triangular shape.
Blur of light. Then,
Here we
in
go.
an instant, the airliner completely vanishes, leaving nothing but empty sky in its wake. The chilling footage has sparked
As it spins
intense
around
debate over its
the plane,
authenticity
and then
the fate of the missing aircraft and passengers. Aviation authorities have denied any knowledge of the incident, but skeptics believe the video may prove a long-rumored government cover-up of UFO encounters.
right there, you saw that? It just vanishes, completely disappears. And this is why the Malaysian flight and the bodies and all that stuff of everyone that was in that flight was not discovered ever. Okay. Now, I'm bringing this up. Why? Because this year there's been a lot of activity. There's been a lot of stuff going on with these planes, and it's not coincidence. Like right here, you have the DC issue, okay, where you have this plane right here and the helicopter running right into it, and it just explodes, right? Okay. Why in the world would that happen with an experienced Black Hawk pilot? Unless, just like we've learned from the pilot testimony, when these things come around any plane or helicopter, they seem like they lose total control of all their mechanics. And that's possibly what happened there in this in the DC plane crash, is that this helicopter lost complete control, could no longer deviate. Something took control of the mechanics of that helicopter, and it flew right into that plane. Okay, that is my observation. Right, we're doing an investigation, and this is what it seems like from what has been presented. Right, and then once again, this is the DC crash that happened not too long ago. But then you also got here's another view. Here's the plane. Here's that. You see it just going straight to it. It just doesn't make sense, y'all. It does not make sense. And it's a shame. It's a shame that these things happen. A lot of people lost their lives, right? But this is when, life is too short, but your spirit is eternal. And where you spend eternity matters. And I'm going to readdress this at the end of this video, but it's never too late. Never too late to know who God is, what's his name, and, to give your life to him, because God is real, man. God is real. Jesus is real. Now, this is the Philly, okay? I want to say within a week from each other. This is the Philly plane crash. And man, when this thing came down like a bomb, okay? You see that? Crazy. That's not normal activity. There it goes. That is not normal. I don't care who you are. Okay. And this was like within the same week. All right. And there's still things going on. When you do your research, there's still issues at the airlines globally with things just randomly happening. Okay. Now, check this out. I saw this on X. Someone posted it. This is just days ago. All right. A pilot lands and he had a mechanical failure, but praise God that the plane actually landed. But notice what he said. This is important.
As we're coming back to Los Angeles, we continue to have the fuel problem. But on the way below 10,000 feet or so, which is about 4 minutes before landing, our left engine decided to quit. So
in midair, the left engine decided to quit. Once again, is it coincidence or what is really going on up there?
but the right engine was great. We had a nice, eventful, nice, smooth landing. So I've been flying 35 years. This is my first engine failure.
Holy
shit. Very rare.
35 years, this captain said. He's been employed for 35 years, and this is his first engine failure. And it just so happened to be when everything is happening up there in the skies. All right. Well, I truly believe that time is running out, and that there is an agenda that they're trying to propose. And I made a video about this. If you guys are interested, by all means, go to my channel. And I'm also going to put a link in my channel here on this video about what's really going on and how long this has been happening. Okay. But there's an agenda of pushing this ideology of extraterrestrial life forms, of aliens, good or bad. And that they possibly made you, they're your creators, but they know what's going on. This ain't no aliens, y'all. Okay, this is spiritual. This is fallen angels. This is Satan and his minions, and masquerading, okay, as angels of light, masquerading as what Hollywood, what the news would say, intelligent life form. All right. So because they know that activity has been increasing now more, and I believe that the enemy knows that his time is short and that the rapture is right around the corner. And for those of y'all that don't believe the rapture, man, let me tell you, if you believe, y'all be believing the Simpsons when they predict stuff, okay? Well, the Simpsons also predicted the rapture. All right. So you take that for what it's worth. If you want to believe everything else that they put out there, I think it's interesting that they know too, okay, that the rapture is coming and it's near. Well, they're trying to get ahead of the game, I believe. Okay. And if you don't know what this is known as Project Bluebeam, which is a deception, a delusion. They know that the rapture is coming. So before it comes, they need to have a plan to explain it away. And spiritual activity is increasing. So they need to find a way to give answers to all of this. All right. So what I'm about to show you right now, okay, the beginning of this video started off with this. I gave you a little snippet of it. But the government has spent all their money and time in creating this trailer for you. Believe it or not, this comes from the government. And for the first time, they're about to disclose officially what they call, what they want you to believe, that we are not alone and that there are aliens and that they have made contact with them. All right. And this is their official trailer that is soon to be released.
The American people are ready to receive the truth.
Humanity is not the only intelligence in the universe.
Humanity is not the only intelligent species.
We are absolutely not alone. Non-human intelligence exists.
UAPs are real, they're here, and they're not human.
They're not human. They're here to stay. So you're starting to catch my drift, right? You're seeing what they're trying to put out there. They want to push God away, but introduce something else to your imagination and capitalize on your fear and emotions.
I spent 25 years as a senior official with the CIA.
I worked on highly classified UAP programs. 28 years as an astrophysicist.
I served as the 4th Director of National Intelligence.
Director of Aviation Security in the National Security Council.
The one-star admiral after 32 years of service.
People that come forward with this, I feel like they've taken their life in their own hands.
Now, if you notice, everyone put their resume out there, right? So these are very, what they would call credible people. But once again, it's politics, right? So who's credible up there in that capacity? But take it for what it's worth. These are people that would be kind of seen to have credentials, and for them to be saying these things, is to a certain extent credible. But of course, with a spin on it, right? Because we know it's not aliens, it's demons.
I was recruited to a highly sensitive government program that investigated unidentified areas.
Now, this man showed up also, and he gave his experience, his testimony on the Joe Rogan podcast as well.
Aerial phenomenon.
For over 16 years, on behalf of the U.S. government, I worked as a senior intelligence official on the unidentified aerial phenomenon topic.
We learned that the U.S. government was involved in a long-running secret war with other nations to collect and reverse engineer vehicles not made by humans.
I have seen with my own eyes non-human craft and non-human beings.
It's rotating. There's a whole fleet of them.
Non-human aircrafts, non-human beings.
First country that cracks the code on this technology will be the leader for years to come.
China has established its own version of a UAP task force.
You think for a second that they...
And you see how they're trying to play it off, right? Like it's a positive, kind of like a space race, a space war. Wherever this technology lands, they're going to have global dominance. But that's not what it's about.
Wouldn't consider using it to achieve their ends of domination.
This is similar to the Manhattan Project. This is the atomic weapon on steroids.
This is so secret. Very, very few people in our entire government.
If it's so secret, why have they been trying so hard to push this stuff out? Okay. And once again, I made a video about this. I really want you guys to check it out when you got the time. Okay. They've been pushing this agenda since 1930. Okay, on a radio announcement called War of the Worlds. It was a play, but no one knew it was a play. And they interrupted everybody's broadcasting, whatever show they would listen to, because they didn't have TV back then. It was just the radio. And they made everyone believe that the world was being under attack by aliens. People committed suicide because of that event. And then at the end of it, they explained that it was, they were reading a novel. Okay. And I believe it was also October 31st when they did this. Notice the timing, right? October 31st, where the occult loves to do things like this.
And allowed access to it.
Even presidents have been operating on a...
Well, look who it is. Oh, Rubio. Even Rubio is involved in this, all right?
To no basis. But that begins to ramp out of control.
It's not acceptable to have secret parts of government that no one ever sees.
You better be careful about it.
Now, I'm going to be making a video about this, okay? But this is an obelisk, and these things are all over the world. Let me ask you a question. It's called the Washington Monument, the one that we have here. How is this image American? Okay. It's a pyramid. It's an Egyptian pyramid. And these things are placed everywhere, all over the world. The Vatican has 13 of them. And I'm not sure if you knew, but when I believe it was Peter, the disciple Peter, when he was crucified upside down, it was in front of, I believe, the obelisk that they actually have there at the Vatican right now. Most of these obelisks has been transported from Egypt. Their original obelisks from Egypt, they've been transported to the Vatican. As a matter of fact, Central Park in New York has an obelisk, and it's original, and it's also from Egypt. This is weird. All right. What do I think they are? I think that they are some type of identifiers, maybe mini portals that are not activated yet. For the demonic realm.
The government doesn't trust its people because there's no telling what they'll pull on you.
This is the biggest discovery in human history.
You had information being locked away that could change the trajectory for species.
It has so many beneficial impacts, including clean energy.
We should have disclosure today. We should have disclosure tomorrow. The time has come.
else you want to know?
Bravo, huh? What a production. What a production these people put together. Man, it just really makes you wonder, like, what can you really trust? Can you trust what you see out there? All right. It's like a movie set with actors. But at the end of the day, what's really going on? Because this is what this video is about. What is going on up there that they're not telling you? Well, as always, I'm not going to give you my opinion, but we're going to go to the Word of God to see what does the Bible say about possibly what is going on up there. All right, because this is what we do here at Apologia Today. The Bible is not just a book that you read and then you put it back on the shelf and you feel motivated by its messages on Sunday, but the rest of the week and day to day and the world that you see, you don't apply it. Okay, there's a huge disconnect. No, you apply it today. You defend it today. And it has nothing to do with conspiracy, but it has been revealed to you so that you know the times, the seasons. And like the Bible says, when you see these things happen, don't have fear, but look up, because now you know that the time is near, that the Lord is coming. And that gives you a peace. All right. So what's going on? What do we know? If you go to, let me see if I can switch my screen. All right. So I'm going to go to Ephesians 6:12. All right, here we go. Ephesians 6:12. And what does it say? It says, for we do not wrestle against flesh and blood. Right. So our battle, everything that even when you argue with somebody, okay, that's not your enemy. That's what the enemy wants you to believe, that what you see and the person in front of you is your enemy. But this is all spiritual. If people are not our enemy, then what is it? It says, but what? But against principalities. These are powers, okay? Against principalities, against powers, against rulers of darkness of this age. Against what? Spiritual host. Remember that word, host. Host, they're spiritual. Spiritual host of wickedness, where? Notice its location, in heavenly places. The devil and demons, they're not in hell, y'all. They are, when you look up there, they are in the heavenly places. The Bible talks about three heavens, the third, the second, and the first. The first being what you see with your eyes. The second being what we consider space. And then the third heaven is where God dwells. The throne room of heaven. That is where Satan and the fallen angels were removed and cast down. They were cast down to the second heaven. Okay. So what I believe is going on with all these accidents with planes and all that stuff, it's not accidents. It's spiritual warfare. It is a violent, wicked, ugly spiritual attack from fallen angels, from demons, from the demonic realm into our physical reality. Why? Because time is short and the veil is getting thin. So what else do we know? Okay. If you go to 2 Peter 2:4, let me switch to that real quick. 2 Peter 2:4. Okay. Right here. It says, for if God did not spare the angels who sinned, but cast them down to hell and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved for judgment. Okay. What angels is being mentioned here in 2 Peter? These are the angels that specifically says in the book of Jude that they left their estate. They left their fixed position. All right. And we read about this in Genesis 6. But let's go ahead and go to Jude 1:6. All right. Jude 1:6. Right here. And it says, and the angels who did not keep their what? Their proper domain. This is important to know because I'm going to give my biblical opinion here. on what I think is going on with all this. It says angels, spirit beings, okay, that did not keep their what? Their proper domain, their place where God has placed them. They did not stay there. They did not remain there. But what? It says, but left their own abode. There's an abode that God placed them in, but they left it. And it says, he has reserved in everlasting chains under darkness for the judgment of the great day. Okay. What is he talking about here? All right. So this is who he's talking about. If we go to Genesis, and I hope hope this makes sense to you guys. If not, hit me up in the comment box. And I will go back and forth with y'all, right? But if we go to Genesis 6, all right. Genesis 6. This is what they're talking about. And it says that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were beautiful, and they took wives for themselves, all whom they chose. Who are the sons of God? Okay. Many people will say, oh, well, those are the sons of Seth or whatever, but that is not biblically accurate, because continuing on in the text, if you read in context, these women that had intercourse with the sons of God gave birth to giants. All right. We also hear this reference as sons of God mentioned in the book of Job, where Satan and the fallen angels, those that followed him, they ask for, I guess, like a meeting with God so that they can point out Job and try to torment him to prove to God that the only reason Job even worships you is because you give him everything. But the reason I mentioned the book of Job is because Satan and the fallen angels, when they're in the presence of God in this meeting, they're referenced, okay, as the sons of God. The sons of God. So who is this in context? These are fallen angels, okay, that saw women beautiful and took them as wives for themselves. Now, if we go on to verse 4, okay, in context, same thing. There were giants on the earth in those days. There were what? Giants. And also after, when the sons of God, once again, there goes that term, the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bore what? Children to them. They gave birth to these half-breeds, half angelic, half fallen, half human. And it says those were the mighty men who were of old, men of renown. So this is what's been going on since the beginning of time, okay? It's a spiritual war, and it's in the heavens. Now, I truly believe, okay, then this is my biblical opinion, all right? This is my biblical opinion on this. I believe that we've been lied to for many years. We've been indoctrinated on purpose so that they can hide God and push the idea of science and evolution so that God becomes a fantasy, and we worship science. We worship, I must say, pseudoscience, okay, fake science, and explain away the Bible. And we rely on our own logic, okay, or with our limited ability. But I believe, I'm saying this because I believe that the Bible clearly states that space is not the way we've been taught it is, okay? And that things are not the way we believe them to be according to how we learned in school. But the Bible talks about the stars being worshipped over and over and over in the Old Testament, even in the New Testament. So what am I saying? I believe that the stars that you see that light up the night sky, I believe that those are angelic hosts. Those are even might be angels, God's angels. And I believe that the planets are not physical planets, but they are fallen angels. Okay. Which is why they're referenced even in science as wandering stars. Okay. Why Why are they called wandering stars? Because like the verse that I just read from earlier from Peter, it says those that have left their abode, their fixed place. Now the stars are always in their same place, their fixed place. And God placed them there to watch, to observe, and they're kind of like messengers, right? Depending on how depending how the sky rotates, okay? We know signs, seasons, eclipses. So they're messengers, and we know that the word angel also means messenger. But they're always in place where God placed them. And even the Old Testament says how he puts the stars and he's named them and has put them in fixed places. But the planets are known as wandering stars, and they're not fixed. They're wandering around, and we know that in the Old Testament, God rebuked the Jews, the Hebrews, for worshiping the heavenly hosts. Okay, so if we go to 2 Kings 17:16, you'll read where it says that the Israelites bowed down to all the hosts of heaven. If they're just lights, why would you bow down and worship it? Okay. As a matter of fact, it reads like this. It says, so they left all the commandments of the Lord, their God, made for themselves, and molded image and 2 calves, made a wooden image, and worshipped all the host of heaven. Okay, what did they worship? All the host of heaven. And served Baal. And they caused their sons and daughters to pass through the fire, practice witchcraft and soothsaying, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Lord to provoke him to anger. So this is interesting. This is an interesting verse. Why? Because by worshiping these fallen angels, notice what happened to them as a society in return. Demonic possession, demonic oppression, okay? They worship the heavenly host, and in return, they practice witchcraft. We see a lot of that stuff today, okay? The more and more people are enticed by Wicca and the occult and New Age teachings, all of this stuff, they tend to open demonic doors. And you see these people fall into anxiety, depression, and it looks very demonic, honestly, very demonic. If you go to 2 Kings 21, verse 3, it talks about the king of Manasseh. And it says that he worshiped all the host of heaven and served them. Once again, why are you serving something that's not alive unless you know that they're beings, that they are alive, that they respond to you? Okay. And that verse reads like this: for he rebuilt the high places which Hezekiah his father had destroyed. He raised up altars to Baal. Once again, behind every idol is a demon. Okay. And this is Baal worship. Okay. Luciferian worship, Satan worship. And it says, and made a wooden image, as Ahab, king of Israel, had done. And he worshiped all the host of heaven and served them. Once again, this is the worshiping of principalities, powers, and spiritual wickedness. We're up there. This ain't nothing new. If you go to Zephaniah 1:5, it says this. And that's about, pretty much it says that there is a strong judgment on Judah for those who bow down on the roofs to worship the starry hosts or starry hosts. Okay. What was going on there? You had people getting on the roofs of their homes, worshiping what they saw up there. Okay. Now you can call it whatever you want. They were archaic. They didn't understand things. They thought, you know what? These people knew more than we do today. Okay. And that verse reads like this: those who worshiped the host of heaven on the housetops, those who worshiped and swore oaths by the Lord, but also swore by Milcom. Who's Milcom? You know what I'm saying? Who's Milcom? What is going on there? But this is not the first time we also hear this. In the New Testament, you have a, I believe it was the Stephen the martyr. He's talking to the Pharisees, rebuking them. I believe it's Acts chapter 7. Okay. Let me see if I can find that for you guys real quick. Let's go there. Let's go there. I'm on Blue Letter Bible. Let me switch over there. And let's go to Acts 7. Then God turned and gave them up to worship the host of heaven. You notice there goes that word again. To worship what? His wrath was to turn them to their own desires, and in return they worshipped what? Whatever was up there. The host of heaven, as it is written in the book of the prophets. Right here. Did you offer me slaughtered animals and sacrifices during 40 years in the wilderness, O house of Israel? You also took up the tabernacle of Moloch. Okay, and Moloch was a demon. It was this metal statue, and people would place children. They would heat up the inside of this statue. It was like a bull, and they would place children alive in the hands of this statue that was like this. It was really just children's sacrifice. What is that today? Ain't nothing new underneath the sun. That's what's that organization? Planned Parenthood. That's a Moloch. Sacrificing your children to Moloch. All right, it's spiritual. And it says, and the star, okay, yes, this is in the New Testament, and the star of your God, Remphan, images which you made to worship, and I will carry you away beyond Babylon. Stephen tells the Pharisees that they worship the star of Remphan. What's the star of Remphan? Okay, the star of Remphan is what many believe to be in the shape. I'm not sure if it's Jupiter or Saturn, but it has a hexagon, and when you connect them, it also creates a pentagram. And in Israel, they would say that that is the Star of David, but David did not have that image. Okay. If anything, that actually came from, I believe, Solomon, who got into a lot, okay, of witchcraft. And that's even where the Masons actually come from. They reference Solomon and the builders of his temple, which were probably what they like to say the original Masons. Okay. But the Star of Remphan, check that out. So what am I saying at the end of the day? I know there's been a lot of information that I'm throwing at you guys, but what I'm saying is that what's going on here this year, I don't want you to be scared, but I want you to be informed. I want you to get in your word. I want you to pray, and I want you to ask God to reveal to you what is going on, Lord, and give me peace. Okay, because the Bible says that God does not give you a spirit of fear, but he gives you power and a sound mind. A sound mind. Why? Because the Holy Spirit dwells in you, gives you truth and direction, and a peace that surpasses all understanding. Now, those that don't know God, they walk around in fear. Why? Because demons dwell in fear. Demons dwell in dry places. Okay, and the Bible talks about that. And if your house, your tabernacle, this body is not being occupied by the Holy Spirit, then it is open to any demonic force out there, and we're seeing it. Okay. Now, I truly believe, my biblical perspective, there is something coming. Is it going to be in 2025? I don't know, but man, it sure looks like they're getting ready for something. Don't get caught up with the lies and the agenda of all of this alien stuff. Okay. At the end of the day, today's the day of salvation. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Today is the day of salvation. Ask yourself, man, is what this guy is saying true? I challenge you. Ask God, pray. Okay. Pray to the God that you don't even know, and he will reveal himself to you in the name of Jesus Christ. And he will give you peace, and he will show himself to you. And if you don't know him, okay, now is the time for you to understand that you need salvation. You need to surrender to him. Because he loves you, he wants relationship with you, And he has plans for you. He's got a mission for you. And his ways are better than anything that you can even imagine and set up for yourself. But at the end of the day, this is not your story. This is his story. And we need to remember that. So I hope this video has been a blessing. I hope this video has maybe stirred something up in your heart. By all means, pray about it. Search these things out. And like I always say on all my videos, you know what? Don't believe me, but research it. Test God. Take it to the word of God, and he will reveal truth to you. All right. As always, I'm Ness with Apologia today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hit me up in the comment box. See what you thought. I would love to hear your thoughts about all of this. Until the next one, y'all. Be blessed in the mighty name of Jesus Christ.